Hi everyone. In this video, I want to really quickly go over how I leverage AI to make trading decisions and prepare for the pre-market. One of my favorite AI tools is Perplexity. I find that in the ecosystem of AIs, you have ChatGPT, you have Cloud, you have Perplexity, Gemini. I find that with ChatGPT, for example, it's very great, very good with creative tasks. But Perplexity is where you can get fact-based information, get resources and sources for your searches and prompts. And I've set it up in a way that every morning before the market open, I'm able to have a procedure or a prompt that I submit to Perplexity, which I'm going to show you in this video today, that allows me to get a bird's eye view of what's happening in the market. I've taken this prompt and adjusted it over weeks and months to ensure that it provides me the output that I'm looking for. And I think the most recent sort of customization that I have for Perplexity on this specific conversation is working really well for me, because when I'm approaching the pre-market session, for example, I want to know where investors are, moving money. I want to know what the flow of money is before market open, and I can combine that insight from Perplexity and then use that in my technical analysis so that I'm getting a more balanced view of what I can expect in the market. Because if the Perplexity prompt is suggesting, based on the research it has provided me, that, hey, look, there's a sector rotation happening right now from big tech going into defensive, healthcare and all those other sort of industries besides big tech, and then I see consolidation happen on big tech, that could mean two things. Are we going to consolidate for some time and then eventually break out, which we just did recently in the last week and a half? Or are we basically going to start selling and seeing movement away from big tech further, and then basically we'll have more of a short-term bearish bias? That's one of the ways that I use it. Another way that I use it is through being able to find trade ideas, like specific stocks that I'm seeing other traders perhaps use, and using that as a reference to say, okay, well, based on this, can you just find me stocks that are outside of my current portfolio or basket of stocks that I typically trade, the Teslas and Nvidias, Amazons, AMDs, and what's kind of trending right now, because those actually do provide opportunities as well. And I want to see where other traders or option traders specifically are looking at that. So let's dive into Perplexity. I hope that you've had some experience with AI before, with ChatGPT, Gemini. If you're a trader, you're probably pretty comfortable to some extent with technology, and Perplexity and Gemini and all these AI tools through these chat experiences, they're just there for you as an extension, as like an executive assistant or some sort of expert. And the way that you prompt them and the way that they output to you, it should be consistent, and it should ensure that you're not getting fabricated information. I also like to see the current news and use it with other tools like Econoday to see what are the market events happening today. So you can just go to Google and type Perplexity. I already have it set up here. The ones I'm going to go over today are just these bookmarks here that I've set up. These are ready for me right when I'm doing my pre-market prep. I like to go through a sequence of sources, and now one of them is AI, and I think it's pretty cool how we have access to tools like this, but we don't just rely on this tool. We use it as part of our whole sort of big picture as how we're approaching the market. So I have this thread here, which starts off with, in this thread, I want a quick summary of the most relevant market trends, news, economic events, important considerations going into the US market open. Every day I will use this data to have a mindset on how the market is, and then review my basket of stocks to day trade options on. I'm mostly interested in these stocks, etc. And I want to know, what market events are happening, like FOMC, Fed chairman, market moving indicators, referencing Econoday, which is a great site for you to look and see what are the current events throughout the week. News on Trump, China, AI, and over time I can change this as well, but right now it's Trump, China, AI. I think those are the biggest topics right now for me, in my personal opinion. And then there's option related events like triple witching, quad witching. Forgive me if I've misspelt anything here, but you get the point. It's basically a prompt designed to give me output the way that I want it, and how I prompt it or how I initiate it is simply by saying today's pre-market summary. This is when I think this is when I set it up. It was like this. So it kind of gives you sections on the stocks that you're looking at, economic events, market movers, options, etc. Just keep in mind that AI does, of course, make mistakes. And the experience that I had with that was that it kept excluding FOMC, and I already looked at Econo Day. So I knew it was an FOMC minutes kind of day. I knew the Fed chairman was speaking. I knew today was CPI, had already been released an hour before market open. So then it was good to know that, because then I was like, hey, you forgot to do this. Make sure you look at most current data, because it would say something like, oh, and investors and traders are anticipating the results from XYZ. And I'm thinking, okay, we've already seen the results. This is what it's already been released. So what's happening around that? So I really like Perplexity because once you give it the prompt, it gives you sources, and it kind of organizes things in a way that's designed for you to be able to read quickly. But I took it a little bit further. It kept prompting it over weeks, and I got it to a point where now all I say is all I prompt it with the 3 letters PMS, just pre-market summary, not anything else. But I did it once in a different chat. I was like, hey, talking about something biologically related to women. And I was like, no, that's not what I'm asking. I had to go back into this and realize, okay, when I say this means pre-market summary. And I've also in the past used it a couple of times. And then I realized, you know what, if it's faster for me to say this and type it in, I save so much time rather than have to type it or annotate it, or, the voice chat thing. So what I like recently that it's been outputting to me, and something that I've asked it to consistently do, is the sector activity and rotation. I find this is really, really helpful. And the reason I find it really helpful is because as a trader, it's very recent for me to start thinking about sector rotations. Before, I was just so concentrated on big tech, Facebook, Meta, and Nvidia, AMD, etc. And I trade them often in the stock market, but I didn't really think about what's happening around it. Like, what are the other areas of the Dow Jones? What's happening in other areas of the S&P 500? Like, the flow of money is something I should be tracking, because investors are making major decisions that impact the way the stock is going to behave on an intraday. It's not just day traders. And in fact, a very small percentage, like almost insignificant, are retail traders like me. It's mostly hedge funds and HFTs and trading firms and prop firms and all these bigger entities that are making these major decisions and major moves. So by having sector activity rotation, I'm not sure if it prompted me this, and then I said, hey, look, I really like that. Let's keep it up. So I prompted it to keep on including in future outputs. And so now I can see what's happening, and as investors are betting heavily on imminent Fed rate cuts. This is very recent. It's September 9th, 2025. So they're looking at, the fact that the job reports wasn't as good last week. And so the rate cuts are more likely. So they're looking at that, and then there's basically seeing like there's a growth tech stocks. I think last week they were starting to move higher. Now they're consolidating again. Are we going to get another boost up as interest rates go down? Isn't that cheaper borrowing for these bigger companies? Tesla is making a turnaround pretty well. So I like to know what the sector rotation is. And if you want to verify, you can look at these, but I kind of just look at the output. I can also see pre-market movers, losers, the news on FOMC and stuff. But this section's really good. Too long, didn't read, TLDR. If I really just don't have time, I can just go, oh, this is what's happening. Sectors are going to defensive, value-based rather than tech. So this is how I use the Perplexity AI system for my pre-market summary. I also have a couple different options for daily gappers and ticker search. Basically, it's the same thing. In ticker search, I want to know, some stock traders are using certain tickers that are appearing. And so I would say like any hot tickers this week, such as coin, CRL, MSTR, these were starting to gain some activity. And I was like interested in knowing, hey, if anything else comes up, let me know. Take a look at it, make a decision there. I think QCOM came up on one of them and I set an alert at a specific level and it triggered. And then I was thinking, I don't really trade QCOM, so I'm just going to leave it. So the point is that by having a basket of stocks, it's great because you're hyper focused, you understand the personalities of those stocks, but I want to do a ticker search just to know what else is moving in the markets, because they can present opportunities that may be better quality than my basket of stocks. Like coin has had some interesting opportunities, hood. So when NVIDIA kind of gets lackluster and fakes out and stuff, or when the market is consolidating, you want to find these easy money trades, and some of them are there. And I think there's an example I can show. For example, if I can remember correctly, it was either hood or coin. I think it was hood, yeah. So hood here, it was not doing so well for some time. It was basically consolidating and kind of messy, go up, get sold off, go up back again into 118, sell off again, then get bought up again with this bottoming tail and sell off again. Like, it was really choppy. So I had an idea that, okay, if it gets above 112, there's a clear area here for it to break out. I didn't take this trade. I was in the middle of another trade, but I usually take a screenshot and log this in for later, like, I didn't take it, why didn't I take it? But hood wasn't on my basket of stocks. I started collecting a secondary list of stocks, close to 9 additional stocks, because that's what my other side of my screen can fit in terms of a grid. So I have a 9 basket of stocks, and then now I have 9 secondary stocks. And hood made it on there. And so I have been trading it here and there, but this opportunity I would not have seen had I not had an additional basket of stocks as a secondary list, which one of them would include hood. And this is just clean price action, clear level, breaks out, holds and retests this 112 level, and then continues higher. Yes, I could have taken it. I didn't take it. Sometimes my confidence levels fluctuate based on the way the market is moving, or if I'm in another trade. But having said that, using AI, Perplexity specifically, because it provides resources that you can check. It's providing prompt responses that are more information based rather than creative. I think it's really, really helpful, and it's helped me with my trading. And if you've found value in this video, let me know how you are using AI to improve your trading experience. Are you using for your pre-market summaries? Are you using it to find out what's gapping? I'd love to know. Yeah, thank you for your time, and I hope you gain value from this video.